I'm Bob Spinozzi, and today I'm with registered dietitian Jessica Peters of Emerson Hospital. We're going to talk about weight loss and some new trends in food for the new year. Thank you so much for being with me.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, I've heard about this keto diet.
Yes.
What is your opinion on it, and is it safe?
So I always kind of laugh when I hear about keto because it's one of the most common things. And I will say for about 2 years, every time someone hears, oh, you're a dietitian, let me ask you a question. And I just interrupt them at this point. I'm like, are you about to ask me about keto? And they're like, yes. I'm like, all right. So keto is not new. It has been around for about 100 years. It first started out as a diet to help treat epilepsy in children. So it came out in the 1920s. It lost favor for a while and it's kind of come back a little bit, but now it's kind of gone mainstream as a way of losing weight. And the sort of premise of it is a very restricted carbohydrate diet. Sort of like if anyone's done Atkins, years ago, that first stage of Atkins is about a restriction to about 50 grams of carbohydrates in a whole day. To put that sort of in food terms, that's about 2 small pieces of bread in an entire day. That means you would not be able to eat any other carbs. So for the keto diet, you're that restricted in carbohydrates, but then instead of eating other foods like protein or chicken, you're supposed to replace those calories in your diet with fat. So that's where you're going to end up eating a lot more of things like olive oil, nuts, avocado. If you're not restricting animal fats, it's going to be more butter. Bacon is kind of where people end up going with it. So keto can, I believe, be a diet that's probably fine health-wise. I think the restriction is a little difficult to do long-term just because the variety of foods is so limited. I mean, we live in a society where there's a lot of social aspects to eating, and if you're having a hard time finding something to eat on a menu, or you go to a friend's house and they're not offering something that sort of fits that macronutrient breakdown, that's going to be hard to participate, and that affects things.
But is the keto something I might try on my own, or is there medical supervision involved here?
I would recommend doing it medically supervised, just so that you make sure that, one, are you incorporating healthy foods? Are you having a good balance of foods so that you're not developing any deficiencies? When you take away carbohydrates, you are taking away some basic nutrients and vitamins that we see in fruits and vegetables and whole grains, like your B vitamins, vitamin C. These are things that we need to be healthy. The other aspect is, your medical history. If you have a very strong, maybe cardiac history, where maybe you've had a history of heart attacks or a strong family history of things like that, then it may be a diet that's going to incorporate a lot of saturated fat is not going to be beneficial to you. And the other thing that can happen when you go very low in carbohydrates is you do lose a lot of water. And that's just natural when you kind of use up all of your sugar stores in your body. You shed a lot of water, and that can create some electrolyte imbalances as well. So you want to make sure that you have a doctor or a dietitian trained in doing, keto or low carb diets, helping you, making sure that it's something that's appropriate and safe long term.
Yeah, this sure doesn't sound like anything you want to try on your own.
I don't get it, but but people seem to enjoy it. But I think it kind of comes down to, too, when you cut out certain foods from your diet and eating more protein, eating more high-fat foods, and eating, the vegetables that you do eat are going to be those very fibrous ones. People will say, I'm not as hungry, I don't have as many cravings, because they're not eating the sugar anymore. So they do find it's helpful. It's just maybe, I think, a little bit too extreme for most people to sustain long-term. I mean, you think about any of the foods that we always feel like we have to give up when we're dieting, it's almost always sugar or carbohydrates, right? It's like, I always tell people, our happy foods are sugar, potatoes, bread, rice, pasta. Processed foods,
yeah,
crackers. Yeah. And so if those are not part of the diet, it's easier to lose weight because you're not overeating. Nobody ever eats too much chicken, really. I mean, it's like there's a stopping point with chicken. Nobody has a bad day and needs to eat broccoli. They're not like, oh my God, I can't wait to go home and eat some broccoli. It's just not the same relationship as we do with carbohydrates.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.